Right, so it's week number one. So what have I learned, right? Well, I went up until like unit two of this book. Well, not all the way through unit two, like halfway through there. So I learned up until the bell tune that they play in like anime. um, yeah, initially I thought like, oh, it's gonna be like ceremonial bell, but like turns out it's just your classroom bell. So that kind of caught me off guard because like again, I can't read sheet music and immediately be able to tell what the music is. But speaking of sheet music, that's also one of the things I learned this week. So not only can I like, for example, read the score. If I look at this, then yeah, I can like kind of tell what the notes are. For example, from this sheet here. Um, Additionally, let's say if I were to pick a key, for example, let's say A, then I would know that's an A. Or let's say if I want to pick an E, then I know that's an E, for example. So now that muscle memory, I think, is quite there, I think. I mean, I wouldn't say it's to the point where I can confidently just say any key and then just like, subconsciously just press that key. I still have a bit of conscious thinking there, but I think it's to a point where I can read sheet music reasonably fast enough that I don't think I should just stall my progress just for perfecting the ability to like press a note on a keyboard. So, with that being said, um, I kind of wish that I would be finishing Unit 2 by this week, but a couple of unfortunate things happened. So, well, let's start with the lesser ones first. The first one was that, well, I had a lot of work. So, there were a few cases where I had to overtime a bit. So, basically, I didn't have enough time to practice on the piano. But more importantly, YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, decided that my channel was spammy and botty. Now, I do understand where they come from because I created this channel like literally a few days ago, and I did not provide them gender classification. I did not give my home address. Basically, I skipped through as much of the info section as I could, and then within the span of like 10 minutes, I uploaded like a pretty decent quality video, and I think that got flagged as bot behavior, which makes sense, but it just demoralized me quite a fair bit because I did put a lot of effort into this video, right? So, for example, there's literally no edits on the last video. All I did was I just took like a side lamp, and then I pointed the lamp like to the left side of this keyboard. So there's this sort of like contrast. So you can see like the left part of my hand is like lit up, but the right part is like a little bit contrasty. So it gives this sort of like cinematic vibe, if you will. And like that thing takes effort, and then there's editing on top. So all that combined, and then just looking at my channel get deleted, it wasn't very fun. So didn't really have the motivation to do it either. But having said that, I don't think there was any zero progress. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play the first piece. So in Unit 1, the piece that they do teach you is Ode to Joy. Like, obviously not the actual version, like, with all the... Like, I think it's even played on, like, a different scale. I don't think it's on, like... it's on this scale. It's probably... And it's much more complicated and much harder to play, but... For now, as a beginner, I'm just gonna stick with this, right? So, let's go ahead and play this thing. I think I place my hands like this. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Let's start. Oh wait, why is the volume so low? Okay, there we go. Wait, that wasn't quite correct. Wait, let me try that again. Yeah, well, muscle memory is also kicking in a fair bit because like I've played this song like quite a fair bit this week, so oh well. Yep. So that's basically the first part. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I think the other one is played by the left hand, but I think that's pretty much. I mean it's pretty much the same thing. So that's the first thing they teach. In chapter 2, they then introduce the grand staff, like sort of the sheet music, if you will, and like how to read it and so on. So I did master this part, I think decently okay-ish. So yeah. However, the first song that they do teach you is Yankee Doodle, so that's also not one of the songs that I picked up. I think it's, well, I found it a bit challenging to pick up at first because, again, previously I used to memorize the keys, right? And Ode to Joy, it's a pretty simple tune, so it wasn't that difficult. But this one in particular took a fair bit to like sort of like map my like sheet music to the keys on the keyboard. But having said that, I think I nailed it down for now. So let's have a look. I think this is how you're supposed to hold it, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Whoopsie, my bad. Wait, sorry, let me give that another go. So this is part of the reason why I prefer doing it in one take, because I want these mistakes to show up. Like, there's no point in like me just selectively cutting out pieces that I think are good when this is really supposed to be like my learning progress, right? So I would much prefer that these mistakes be there and see what I can do about them later on, right? So yeah. So I think that was pretty much on point. Having said that, I think I pressed some of the keys a little bit too hard or too soft, and for that reason, actually I designed this visualizer that you see on the screen, like right here. Not sure if you can see my hand, but basically that thing up there. So the reason I did that is because basically, like, from what I understand, like MIDI can capture like how hard you press a key, for example. But like I think this piano has like some sort of like internal algorithm which sort of like, you know, like blends in like how you press the keys and so on. So I want the authentic sound of this piano while also like seeing what I actually pressed precisely. So basically I want them synchronized, and the way I did that is basically I made a Python script which captures both the audio from this mic and also the MIDI in time synchronized fashion. So this way, whenever I press a key, it'll both get picked up by the mic and also the key which I pressed. So I will be able to tell like which key that I pressed and how fast I pressed it, and that's going to be very important for me later on when I will analyze this after the recording, I suppose. So yeah, now that was Yankee Doodle. The next thing they taught was like row, row, row your boat, and I'm not really sure if this is supposed to be like necessarily, I don't think this is supposed to be like complicated per se, but basically to test out like timing. So again, that's where that thing will come in handy as well, and I'll have a look at how well or badly I played it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyways, without any further ado, let's play it. Oh, another thing is I was quite confused by like, okay, so I'm looking at this, right? So it says G. But then, how do I know if it's like, say, this G, or like this G? Like, what way is for me to tell, right? Well, as it turns out, like, this is middle C, right? So if that's middle C, so if that's the middle C, then the G should be like right here, which is like one, because like it's on the bass clef, so it should be on my left hand side, which is like to the left, like right here. So that's the G I should be playing. Anyways, let's go ahead and play that, starting now. Bruh, okay, that was wrong. Yeah, my mapping got a little bit messed up there, but let's go ahead again. Yep, I think, so basically, the way this is played is like, I played G like for 3 units of time, then G again, and then G once again, but this time in 2 notes, so like 2 seconds, like 2 units, then A just once, then B for 3 times, then B again, then A once again, and then B, and then C, and then D three times, and then let go. At least that's how I interpret it. If you think I read this sheet incorrectly, do let me know, because as far as I can tell, like there's just one ledger line below. I mean, there's no like ledger lines under this C, so I'm just assuming that the B that they're talking about is like just the B immediately to the left of the middle C in this case. But yeah, now we come to a slightly more interesting part. Now, this is where the pedal comes along. Now, I am using the stock pedal, which, I mean, it's just a plastic pedal, honestly. It's probably just a switch. But I don't really think, like, a pedal quality is all that important. I'm not a whole lot sure, but so basically when I was looking at, like, clock tower bells, I was like, oh, so something like Big Ben, or, like, you know, those, like, city clocks that you see. But no, this is actually the same clock that they play in, like, schools, and the ones that you hear in anime. Well, I didn't have this specific clock in my school, because, like, yeah, so, like, I was quite caught off guard when I, like, heard the tune. I'm like, oh, so this is that melody. Right, anyways, so, without any further ado, let's go ahead and play this piece. Okay, so again, I see that there's a middle C here, so although I have no idea what this F means, so do correct me in the comments if you know what that means. But anyways, let's see. Yeah, I think that should be it. Okay. So pedal down. Bruh. Yeah, this is why you should zoom out to see the whole sheet. Hold on. Okay, what's going on? Yeah, so well, alternating between explaining and then coming back to the playing, it's messing up my head a little bit. So sorry about that, but let's give that another go. Okay. Why do I keep thinking this is a G? Is it because of the mapping or what? Anyways. Yeah, I think I nailed that, well, fairly okay. Let's give that another go, though. Because, like, also another thing is, like, because I'm pressing down the pedal, right? When I press the G, for example, I don't necessarily, like, have to hold it down for, like, 3 seconds. I can just, like, let go halfway through and it'll still ring. All I have to care about, however, is, do I wait for 3 whole tones before pressing the G again? So something like this. God damn it. So, something like that, basically. Oh, there's another tune, apparently. Alright, let's give that one a go. Okay, so that's pretty much like all the pieces that I've learned thus far. So I guess that's it for the video part, at least, like recording the piano part, that is. So I guess without any further ado, I'm just gonna like stop the recording right here and look into the analysis of the playing. And of course, like, this is just my own analysis, which may or may not be fully correct, but I think it's about as accurate as I can get, hopefully. So yeah, thank you guys for listening thus far, and let's move on to the analysis. Right, so it's time for the analysis, and for that I have made this, well, vibe coded this application where basically it plays back the recording, both the audio and the MIDI, and I can select the two notes, for example, right here, and it will tell me what the velocity of those two notes were, as well as the time delta. So what this tells me is, did I press that key at the right velocity or pressure, if you will, and did I press them at the right intervals? So let's have a look at the first piece, which is Ode to Joy, and see how I played that. So timing wise, let's see, 0.48 between the first two notes, then we have 0.41, then 0.47, 46. I mean, they're close enough, I think. 4.5, 4.8, 4. Okay, this was a little bit too soon, I think. So the timing is quite uneven, I would say. But what concerns me most is these two notes right here. So over here, like the note that's highlighted in cyan, I played that at almost like half the speed or pressure as that of the note before. So that means that note probably sounded like half as loud. So let's have a listen to that. Yeah, it's definitely half the loudness. So there's that. Yeah, and also the timing is very slightly uneven, but I think that's something I can work on as time progresses. So let's move on to the next piece, which is, well, actually, let me just scrub through and see. Right, so this was the, what was it called again? I think this was Yankee Doodle, and for this part, I think the playing was just about right. Maybe like some notes I did play a little bit too soft. For example, this, if we compare these two, then yeah, you can see like I played one of them with like a velocity of like 63, the other one at a velocity of 52. So maybe like a sixth, like quieter, if you will. So again, pressure is something I need to work on. But timing wise, I think this looks okay. Like if I just compare the times, 4.6, 4.7, 3, 4.5, 4.3. Yeah, I mean, it's still not perfect, but I think it's at least acceptable enough that I don't think I need to like really sit down and like figure this whole thing out, at least for this piece. So let's move on to the next piece, which is the row, row, row your boat. And yeah, that one is more timing dependent. So let's see how I played that. I think it should be this part. So, yep. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is 1.7 seconds. Considering that usually my beats are around like 0.5 to like 0.45 seconds, I think that's a little bit too long. But anyways, let's compare the rest of the beats. 1.74, yeah, I think that's close enough. And then this, okay, 0.97 here. Then 0.97 to 0.4. Yeah, okay, this makes sense. This is like a single note, so that would make sense. And then 1.61 again, alright. And then here to here would be 1.1-ish seconds. I think this was a like 2 units note. This to here, 0.43. I think that's about it, right? No, I think this is really bad. Yeah, I mean this part is fine. Like single note transition to like another note. I think single notes I pretty much nailed down for the most part. Two note, like double notes, I think not that great. But it's there. Triple notes though, not good at all. So I need to work on my timing on the wait, actually I don't think these are even called like triple notes. I think they're called like quarter or like 3/4 notes. well, I'll try and fix the terminology as well. But that being said, most importantly, I really need to work on the timing, especially on this piece. All right, but let's move on to the final piece, which was clock tower bells, I believe. Right. So let's have a look at how this one sounded like. So I mean the timing on this one. So let's see this one and this one. 0.84 ish. Yeah, I think that's around twice a single note, so that's fine. I think. This is 0.85, 0.84. I think this is spot on timing. 8-1, 0, 8-1. Yeah. Okay. So I think like the timing between the notes for this part, for at least for the first passer, I think that was pretty solid. But then I sort of like sped up here. So when there's like pauses, I think I tend to speed up a little bit. So might need to work on that. But I might just be overanalyzing here. That being said, velocity wise, let's see. Velocity 58 and yeah. See, like I'm still playing the notes a little bit too soft in some cases, so need to make them more even and firm, I think. But yeah, I think that's it for my analysis, and I'll just take into account like all these things that I observed at least. Let me know if you guys notice other things that I didn't, and let me know how I can improve on them. So thank you guys for watching, and catch you guys next week.